I am Becky DeLauren. I run the AppExchange marketing program, so that makes me a marketer who spends her life thinking about business apps. And I'm really excited to share with you the AppExchange for Marketing session. Want to start with a huge thanks to all of you for spending an hour of your busy Dreamforce with us, and a really huge thanks to Joe, Gina, and Peter, who have been very generous with their time and are going to share some fabulous insights with you. They'll tell you more about themselves in a minute, but first I have 5 quick notes for you. Raise your hand if you have yet to see a safe harbor slide. There's literally 2 hands out there. Please only make your purchasing decisions based on the products commercially available from Salesforce today. And on to number 2. If you don't know much about AppExchange, it is the #1 business app marketplace. We have over 2,500 apps built for Salesforce and 2.6 million installs to date. And my favorite point is 44,000 customer reviews on the AppExchange. That's actually how I got to know Gina for one of her reviews for one of the apps that she's going to talk about today. Clearly, our customers are appreciating the App Advantage. We just announced this morning that over 70% have installed an app. Apparently, my deck has a mind of its own. And lastly, it really does. In the last year, since we announced Salesforce One Mobile at Dreamforce last year, we've had more than 300 partners build mobile apps for the Salesforce One mobile app platform, which is fabulous. As we zero in on marketing, which is what we're here to talk about today, I want you to know that the category of marketing has over 200 apps for marketers. And as you can see in the various levels here, that we're talking about anything from campaign management to websites and e-commerce. And the great news for you as customers is that there are a lot of different partners building apps across the core categories. So you have a lot of choice. There's a lot of competition, which drives innovation. If you want to start digging into the apps that our speakers are going to talk about right now, we've built a showcase for you. So if you just type in bit.ly df marketing apps, you'll be right there and you can dig in and see live reviews, etc. Lastly, if you are inspired today, we ask that you tweet with hashtag AppIQ and DF14 in your tweet. We're doing daily drawings for cool tech toys and a $1,000 grand prize at the end of Dreamforce. But the real win, if you do this, is you'll have an opportunity to share your expertise and insights and hopefully inspiration that you gained today with a bunch of people who cannot be here with us. There are going to be over 1 million viewers on Salesforce Live and a ton of tweets and other social shares. So please join in the fun. All right, and with that, I'm going to turn it over to Joe Allen, who actually raised his hand to tell this story in the Dreamforce Call for Stories. I think it was 1 or 2 Dreamforces ago, they really got into the connected customer company story and decided to create and tell their own. So I'll turn it over to you, Joe.
Well, thanks. So First Mile collects 12 million bags of recycling from London streets, from businesses every year. We help Adidas recycle their shoe boxes. We help Twitter's head office, Facebook's head office recycle IT equipment and all the London West End theatres. And we've applied technology to an old-fashioned industry to bring it up to date and grow very quickly. From 0 to $15 million in the last 10 years.
All right, let's pass it on to Gina.
Hello, I'm Gina Price, Director of Marketing for Akamai Technologies. Akamai is a cloud services provider. We handle up to 30% of the world's web traffic, and what we do is we make the internet fast, reliable, and secure. And my role with the company is global, so I am, it's often asked of me, where in the world are you today? So over time, it's morphed into where in the world is Carmen Sandiego. So it's San Francisco for those that are playing along today. I've been using Salesforce for 6 years, and I am a certified Salesforce admin. So one of my favorite books is Optimize by Lee Odin, and it's all about content marketing. And you guys can find me on Twitter at Florida_Gina.
All right, Peter.
And I'm Pete Zabios. I'm the VP of Marketing and Product at SPS Commerce. And We're the cloud service that retailing uses to do all of the really cool stuff that retailing's doing right now. We're the largest cloud service, and we connect retailers to their suppliers so that they can sell the things the suppliers make. And that space is getting incredibly complex right now. We have about 55,000 suppliers and 2,000 retailers that use us every day to process all their transacting. If you get one of those emails from somebody you bought something from and it says, click on this link to find out where your package is, we provide all the technology that lets that happen. If the package doesn't get to you, that's not us. But I've spent 2 stints in semiconductor companies that have gone from startup to something public, and at one software company. And in the midst of all that, I spent 7 years with 2 other guys running a venture capital fund in Seattle. But I'm back to doing real work now at SPS Commerce. I've been using Salesforce for 3 years there. We've been using it as a company for almost 10. And my favorite book is Shackleton, the story of the Antarctic explorer that got all the way down there, and about the minute he got there, the boat got stuck in the ice, and he spent 2 years getting all of his men back. Nobody died. It all worked out great, but it was a 2-year journey. My favorite blog is Andrew Chen. He's the guy that came up with the term growth hacking. Super great guy, all sorts of great insight about marketing there. And there's my Twitter handle if you want to communicate with me that way. Thanks.
All right, so since getting to know each other is a two-way street, we'll have a little bit of a stand-up exercise. And we all have some questions we'd like to ask, but I'm going to start out. Would you please stand up if you are a marketer? All right, no surprise in that market research. Would you please stay standing if you are currently using an AppExchange app for marketing? Wow. That means that we have a lot of great educating to do. Would you please stay standing if you are using more than 3 apps for marketing, 3 AppExchange apps for marketing? All right, come say hi to us when we get to the Q&A section. I'd like to ask you some more questions. Gina, you want to ask yours?
So actually, I just kind of want to know, sort of the how long people have been using Salesforce. So just raise of hands. 1 year? 3 years? 5+? All right, so we got some seasoned individuals. That's great. Great.
Any admins out there? Any certified admins out there? I saw a few hands raised. Awesome. And a few admins that are working on their certification too, right? All right. Any others? All right. These are 3 very different marketers, as you've heard. They're all pretty innovative, and they're all using a lot of different apps. So I hope that you're going to learn a lot and come away with a lot of apps that you're interested in bringing to your business. You ready to go, Joe?
Yeah. So you can see we've got a lot of different apps we've installed. I mean, the first thing that this reminded me of when Becky first put the list of apps in front of me was there were a few I hadn't heard of that were installed 2 years ago and I'd completely forgotten about, which led me to actually look again at the whole list, and we've probably tried double the amount of apps in total. And some have worked, some haven't worked, and some obviously have. And the process has always been the same, which is there's a problem. Get your problem and search it in the AppExchange, and there's bound to be something there for you. Data cleansing is really important to us, postcode searches, because we've got drivers who need to collect recycling on the street. So if our salesperson's got the wrong postcode, they're going to be driving around Buckingham Palace rather than collecting from our customers. So Postcode Anywhere came up as a great app to solve that problem, easy to install, and within a couple of minutes we were getting 100% data accuracy. But the really important ones I want to talk to you about today is marketing apps. So the first one is a dead simple application. It's totally free, and it requires no setup whatsoever. Marketing calendar. So all it does is it takes your campaigns that sit in Salesforce and plots them onto a calendar view, as you can see over there. You can set different categories, and it just gives you a top-level view of what marketing activity you've got coming up. And Sarah, in my marketing department, had been through every iteration of Excel spreadsheet about how to display a calendar view of marketing activity. So this was perfect. And now sits at the top of our weekly marketing agenda, so we can start planning resources effectively and seeing exactly what's coming up. It's a great, simple, free app that every marketer should try that one.
When we first talked about this app in our first dry run, I had a feeling we just had one of those magical moments, so I had to ask Peter, did you just email your admin? And he said, yes, actually. I just did it 30 seconds ago.
True story.
As they all are. All right, moving right along.
So I am going to ask another question, actually. How many of you are responsible for your email marketing activity? Just a hand up. And leave your hand up if you manage it within Salesforce.
Wow.
So that's what we were doing. And it's kind of fun. You can do some great email marketing and some great apps, MailChimp, Campaign Monitor. But we were really finding there was a lot of admin time, matching stuff back to Salesforce. And we couldn't really segment because we didn't have any live data. We just had an email address sitting in Campaign Monitor. So again, it was another search the App Store. Campaign Monitor had an app we didn't even know about. And now it's now fully integrated. So if a customer signs up in Salesforce, the app automatically enrolls them onto a new customer welcome sequence, and they get a chain of emails designed for new customers. If the customer has a service issue, they go through a back on track sequence. So we're doing some basic marketing automation with a really low cost application. And what it actually does as well is it looks through your history of every email you've ever sent and will backdate and add previous email correspondence to your contacts and leads, including clicks, unsubscribes, and all of those bits. And actually, unsubscribes is interesting because a lot of people worry about unsubscribes. They're obviously not a positive thing to get, but we've started using the app to harness that data. So there's a story from March this year when one of our largest customers unsubscribed from an email. Because it was integrated into Salesforce, the customer service team got an alert to say, she's unsubscribed, give her a call. We spoke to them and it turned out she'd just taken on the job. She took over her incumbent's emails and unsubscribed to everything. She hadn't heard of First Mile. She was going to bring in her own recycling company. But because we could have the call with her at that moment, we were able to keep her as a customer. And we'd have found out that we'd lost that customer before Campaign Monitor, but it would have taken another 3 months, by which time it would have been too late.
By show of hands, does anybody have this business app saved my customer story like that? We should all have stories like that. All right.
So Data Analytics is another fantastic low-cost app that we've been using now for about 18 months. Google AdWords, it's got its fans and it's definitely got a lot of people who think of it negatively as well. But we get some really great leads coming through Google AdWords. The problem was we lost the conversion data. We knew what keywords were getting inquiries, but we didn't know which of those inquiries were becoming customers. And Data Analytics sorted that out at the other end. So a lead comes in from the website. We now know on the lead details screen what keyword they searched for, the journey they took around the website, how long they spent on certain pages, so that George in the sales team can then talk to the customer about glass recycling, because we know they spent 10 minutes on the glass recycling page, and there's really not 10 minutes worth of interest in glass recycling anyway, so they obviously didn't quite understand it. So it's been great because we can sell more effectively, and it also means you can analyze your AdWords spend, cut out those keywords that aren't turning you customers. And as it says, we've saved $10,000 on the AdWords spend, which is more than paid for the application itself. A great app. And then finally, GeoPoint and Postcode Anywhere that we kind of use together has completely revolutionized our field sales activity. And we started this in January this year. And it was a great moment when our Field's team of tend to be out-of-work actors and actresses go around the streets of London with a clipboard and a piece of paper. And they came and said to us, look, this is really hard. We're scribbling stuff down. People see a clipboard and they immediately know I'm a salesperson. And then it takes days for anyone to get the piece of paper in order to follow it up. So we swapped the clipboards and the pens for iPads with Salesforce. Sarah now, in the marketing team, instead of drawing them a map on paper from Google Maps, she draws a square on the GeoPoint map. It then tells her every lead that's within that square, and she goes, fine, send all of those leads to this field rep. He or she then goes out and visits them, adds any new ones they find along the way, and it immediately alerts the inside sales team as soon as they add a hot lead that's rated 8, 9, 10 out of 10. So the app alone's quadrupled the ROI on our field sales activity. The field team's happier. They've got iPads and they can do their job better. The sales team in the office is happier because they're signing up more customers, getting better leads, and the business is happier. The ROI is quadrupled. So fantastic, yeah.
Great, thank you, Joe.
Cheers.
We'll have room, hopefully at least 10 minutes at the end for everybody to ask questions. So get your questions for Joe ready. All right, Gina.
So Akamai uses quite a lot of apps. I just chose just a couple here just to kind of sort of showcase what the theme of what my story is today. So my role with the organization is, one of my responsibilities is demand generation. So I'm tasked with not only getting leads, but I need to, number one, also qualify them and then turn them into opportunities. So the ones that we have here, I feel are probably the most beneficial for this particular initiative that I have. So next slide. So Conversica is actually one of my favorite apps. What it is it's sales conversion management software, and what it does is it engages and qualifies your leads faster. How we currently use it today, when you sign up, what you get is a persona. So this persona follows up on your behalf and helps you to get to the bottom of all of your leads quicker, to be able to identify which ones have intent and which ones are garbage at that point. So what this has done for my reps is really allowed them to now have somebody following up on their behalf 24/7. We're able to, obviously find out these leads a lot quicker than if I had a sales team just actually calling into them. One of my favorite things about the app is, so the persona that we have, her name is Heather. And what she does is every morning she emails me of all the appointments and all of the intent that she was able to identify from the day before. So I love waking up and actually seeing this first thing in the morning. So it's one thing to look forward to. But overall, what this has really done for the business is, we've seen a 50% increase in our engagement of all of our leads. And now my reps only just truly focus on warm leads at this point. So next slide. So we also use Pardot. If you guys don't know who Pardot is, definitely go down to the campground and go check them out. But marketing automation in general is, I feel like, a very important piece that every marketer should have in their arsenal. What this app has really done for us is done a lot of the heavy lifting. It allows me to track all of my prospects, figure out where they are, score them in real time, and then get them to where they need to go. So if they are meant to be followed up on, or do they need to be nurtured, we go through and we actually are able to do this inside of the app. So it's a great one. One of my other favorite ones is Conga. We are currently subscribers to Composer and Courier. And what this is it allows us to pull together information very quickly out of Salesforce. I don't know about you guys, but my Salesforce has just a ton of information. It's all really good, but the question is, at the end of the day, what do people need to know very quickly? So what we did with Composer and Courier is that once Heather identifies these qualified leads for us, we go through and we do some further qualification and put in some additional information, click 2 buttons, and then I'm able to create a report that has in an email format as well, and then send it out to my field sales reps that are able to follow up with it. What we found that once we implemented this was that we started with roughly about 25 minutes per record actually compiling this information. So you can imagine this is all done by hand previously. This has taken it down from 25 minutes to 2 minutes now. So the downtime, sort of the ability to go on to the next one is hugely beneficial. And one of the last ones that we find is very helpful is Discover.org. What this is, it's a IT database for North America, UK, and a couple other a couple other countries. One of the great things about this is it does have that integration with Salesforce. And what I love about it is being able to go into the app, identify who should belong to a campaign, click a couple buttons, push those into Salesforce, and then we're able to have that right at our fingertips. So it's very, very good for any marketer that needs to go after a targeted list, specifically with IT. You're able to hone in on exactly who you need to be talking to.
All right, thank you, Gina. Gina, who is a self-taught, now certified admin, has really mastered how to use apps to automate her business, it sounds like. All right.
Okay, what I'm going to talk about is how we've used the AppExchange to give our company scale all around marketing. We use lots of apps across the whole spectrum of how we do business, but we've used 3 in marketing to help us engage with existing customers around product development, to help engage and inform our channel and channel partners, and then to help drive our initiatives with retailers. But we use a whole set of apps for productivity. We sign all of our contracts with EchoSign's electronic signature technology. It helps us more efficiently report and generate dashboards, and then we have a grand total of 1 person as our Salesforce admin, supporting almost 1,000 people. So he uses this a lot to just give him time to tend to all of the work he has to do as the solo provider there. So one big AppExchange win for us was using Get Satisfaction. I suggested this to my counterpart who runs customer service. I'd used it in a former life, and this is a community that you can create around customer service, and it enables your customers to engage with other customers, to answer questions, to explore how different products work. But from a customer service perspective, it was a huge win because we got our own customers basically answering questions for each other instead of calling in to ask those questions. But there's a key feature of it for me, because I run marketing and I also run product development. This has been a great tool to solicit from our customers what features or capabilities would they like to see in our products going forward. So within a year, our call volume got reduced by almost 40%. We've sourced more than 70 different product ideas and suggestions from our customers. And this is, because this is integrated with Salesforce and our whole company runs on Salesforce, the product managers use Jira, which integrates with Salesforce, to track all of the backlog and issues. So suggestions come in through Get Satisfaction, they get routed right into Jira. The product manager gets a notice, and they can go back out onto Get Satisfaction and talk to that customer about exactly what were they thinking of. And we also have product managers engaging in the social conversations on Get Satisfaction for product support too. So this has turned into something that a year ago had no page views and now is doing 25,000 a month, and it's been a great way to energize our customers around our products, and from the product management perspective has been a really great source of insight for how we build out the next set of capabilities. Another large area of focus for us is our channel partners. The way our cloud service works, you need to connect it to your ERP system if you're a retailer or a supplier, because that's where your orders originate from, or your invoices and payments originate from. So we have a set of channel partners that are systems integrators, ISVs, and VARs that care and feed for all of those different kinds of ERP systems out there. And that takes a lot of communication and a ton of work. So Treehouse was a partner resource management system that we picked that enables us to scale that communication. So we've got more than 500 channel partners, and I've got a person on one of the marketing teams who can just create a single set of communications to push it out to all of them. All their leads get registered through this, and we're running trade shows constantly, it seems. So this is also a way for us to do the pre-marketing for the trade show, post the materials that we need to promote at the trade show, and do all the lead follow-up. So this has driven our lead volume up by more than 40%. Also, this has been deployed for about 15 months. And we are participating in 37 different partner trade shows a year, and this has taken a huge load off the marketing team, who normally, I would probably have had to hire another dozen of them just to keep up with the trade show stuff, because as you guys all know, that takes a lot of work. And then this last app that gives us scale is when we engage with a retailer, they may come to us and say, you know, for my 800 suppliers, I'd like them to start using a more sophisticated way of submitting item information to us. Now I want them to send me all the digital images with their items. And we have a part of my organization that works with the retailer to orchestrate, we call that enabling the supplier, to go to the suppliers and say, you know, REI would like you to start submitting digital images. You've got 90 days to become compliant with that. Here's how you do it. And within 90 days, we can have all of REI suppliers up submitting digital images the way REI would like. This is a huge source of new business for us. And up until about a year ago, by the way, I joined the company about 2 years ago, which is why all these things are time-stamped, about a year ago, or about 15 months ago. But about a year ago, we realized we were communicating all of this through email and spreadsheets. So the retailer would say, well, where am I with this program? How many people are up and running on it? And we'd send them a spreadsheet, and as soon as we hit send, it was out of date. And they'd want to look through it and find out which of the suppliers are ready and which of them have failed the compliance. So we created an app using Informatica's data loader to take the data out of Salesforce, because that's where the truth is for our company, and then load it into a separate web application that could let the retailer query in real time, how is that program running? And they could drill down and just look at a category and say who's compliant, or drill into that category and find out specifically which supplier was compliant, what were they compliant on. And we do this a lot. We onboard 2,500 vendors to retailer programs every month. And this is supporting 500 plus campaigns a year, but this literally gave me the opportunity to take 6 or 7 new hires and put them in other parts of my org. Otherwise, I would have had them emailing spreadsheets and following up the manual way. But this was a huge way to take all the great data we had in Salesforce and in a machine-driven way, publish it out to our community and let them make use of it and let us focus our attention on more valuable parts of the conversation with them.
All right. We are almost perfectly timed for 10 minutes of Q&A. Who would like to step over to one of the mics and ask the first question? I'm guessing everybody's just thinking about it. I'll start off. Gina, can you tell us a little bit more about Heather and what it took to set her up, and, well, a little bit more about what she is?
Is Heather Siri's sister?
She is. Her name actually is Heather Franco. We've given her a persona that she's actually part of the Franco family. People actually think she's real, by the way, which is really kind of funny. Setting her up was actually pretty easy. What we did was we assigned her an email address inside of our org. And then we partnered with Conversica to do kind of a, understand what our business was. In my business, there's a lot of keywords that sometimes are, indicators that specifically somebody wants to buy now. So we programmed those in. We trained Heather and did some, obviously did some testing here and there, but she is really able to uncover things that I personally thought were dead at that point, because we followed up in the very beginning. We saw that, there was no interest from that. I had somebody call. They said, no, we're not, not at this time. Heather goes back in, and she actually says, in a very polite way, is there anything else that we can help you with today? And people are very, very kind to her. They reach out to her and they actually converse with her back and forth in this two-way dialogue. And where we thought we were, like I said, we thought there were dead leads, she's been able to turn those over, and actually we've been able to get sales out of them, which is amazing. Again, because we were just kind of going off of a lead status as disqualified, not interested at that point. So things change a lot in my business. I'm sure they change a lot for your business as well too. Things are constantly moving. So I think there's a true need to constantly go back and actually touch your, those leads again and again.
Thank you. It's a rather tough concept to catch. It's really cool stuff. We had a question in the back. Hi.
Hi. I was kind of hoping this session would help us when you talk about having hundreds, thousands of apps. Where do you start? How do you get to where you are now to even be telling us about these apps?
Who wants to start with that?
Well, the big thing I think for me, as in the intro, the search function is so good, and the people developing the apps are they get it too, and they're writing what the problem is into the summary. So just search your problem, find something that you think could be better, or that's frustrating you, or that you've got in Excel or outside of Salesforce, and on a basic level, search duplicates, you get 15 duplicate checks. Data cleansing is how we found Postcode Anywhere. There was 5 or 6 different products for that too. Marketing calendar, those things, they're quite intuitive in terms of what you're looking for. So I think there's, I've had far less success with the hit and miss, kind of looking at the featured apps, although some of those are interesting. But just searching, Googling your problem within the AppExchange has been really useful for me.
That's how the great majority of our customers use AppExchange. A huge percentage of our traffic is somebody comes in with a keyword that represents their business problem, and they start their app finding journey that way. And of course, the reviews are very helpful, and for those of you who are going to be jumping on, a lot of people will, for one reason or another, not see, but there's a really cool filter bar just above where you start looking at the app tiles themselves, and it'll allow you to look at different things like paid and free, different price levels, different org editions. So that's very helpful in helping you zero in on exactly what you want.
Also, one thing we've done, because we have like an entire whole person that's our Salesforce admin, we've totally pushed the exploration out into the rest of the parts of marketing and said, you can't go to Christian and ask him to go do the evaluation of this. You have to go figure out, does it solve a business problem? What 3 choices solve a business problem for you? And get to the point where all you have to do is ask him, how much work is it going to be to do this? Can you fit it in? But we totally push the decision making out into the rest of the org, so that Christian's just trying to figure out, how do I schedule my workload, and not trying to do evals for something where he's not really even going to be the end user.
That's pretty unique. We need to write a whole blog on that.
I'd have to say that, the community as well is really helpful. If you pose the question out there, if you're not sure, if you've gone through, searched, and you're not quite sure as to what the particular keywords are that, you should be searching on, pose the question. The community is really great. You'll find that if you don't already know, everybody's really willing to help. So there's always somebody out there sort of listening. Even ask Salesforce, ask your rep. They are very versed, and if they don't know, they'll be able to get you to where you need to go.
Yes, your direct sales reps absolutely love to help make those kinds of connections. And often, even in our internal chatter, we'll reach out to broad communities and say, hey, my customer has this challenge. What app can help? So lots of different resources for you there. Your peers are a really good one. Does anybody else have any questions?
How do you overcome the admin's pushback on the apps?
It's easy for me to overcome, because he reports up into me, into one of my groups. But this is why we push the decision making out into the rest of the group, because you have to make the business case. And if you can't quantify the business case, then I side with the admin. But the guy's just, he's always got way too much stuff to do. So you really have to be able to say, I need to do this. And because we're totally data-driven, you have to be able to say what materially is going to change, what's the, the output going to be, how is this going to be better than what we're doing before, but throw the onus of that onto the person who wants the app or is going to benefit from them to quantify the results, and then you can sit down with the Salesforce admin and say, okay, when do you think you could work this in? What resource amount is it going to cost us to do this? And then make a business decision after that.
Gina, you are the admin.
Yes. So, playing kind of on both sides here. Coming from, I tell people that my backbone is Salesforce admin. So I understand both sides here. But really, what it is if you're able to explain the implementation process and you're able to understand what it's going to take, this helps any admin that's out there. Because the last thing that any admin wants to do is do a lot more work or have a very lengthy implementation where it's just going to take all of their time. So when you're researching these things, that's the first thing I think I always ask is what's the implementation process look like? How quickly can I get up and running? And hold your vendors to it. If they say 3 weeks, that's you need to keep that on there and keep those dates. But really pushing back with the admins, I think it's just really, again, selling how much this is going to make their lives easier. If you're taking a process that is, something that's currently very manual, and you're going to make it, make their lives easier with 2 clicks of a button, it's pretty easy at that point.
And Joe, your admin comes to you and says it's already done, right?
Well, I'm the same as Gina. I'm the admin too.
I believe I didn't pick up on that.
But it's a similar problem in, it can feel like quite a barrier to then get it signed off by the FD or even by the sales team, the people that are going to use it. And the biggest thing on that is that almost all of the apps I've come across come with trial periods where you can see some actual results in your own org or in a test environment. To make a really strong business case. And the Google Analytics one I showed you was great because we turned it on in a trial and the sales team were for 3 weeks going, this is absolutely amazing. I can suddenly see all this rich information about my leads. And then it got turned off. And so I had an army of salespeople behind me when I spoke to the CEO and the FD about signing off the purchase. So
that's a good idea.
Use
turn
the
it
trials.
On and turn it off. Awesome. I didn't want to cut you off. Is that the...
No, that's it.
All right. So that brings us to just about time to say goodbye. I have a couple quick reminders for you. First, if you've been inspired, if you have ideas, please tweet. I saw a wave, literally a wave of phones and iPads and so on lift up when Peter's list came up. So I want to assure you all that we will post this deck to the session feed, and as soon as we have audio recording on YouTube, I will post that as well. And lastly, please have some more fun with AppExchange. Play the Match Apps game, which is a great way to learn about apps and show how awesome you are at a really cool old school game. Matchapps.cool. Have a great day, everybody. Thank you again very much.
Thanks so much.